90% of the people, and they were unrecognizable. They were shot in so many different places that you just couldn't make out who they were.
That is firefighter Rusty Duncan describing what he saw as one of the first on the scene at a mass shooting in 2017 in a Texas church.
It was shattering concrete. You can only imagine what it does to a human body.
The grim reality of gruesome, unrecognizable, blood-covered corpses is relevant, thanks in part to a new opinion column in the Washington Post. Jeh Johnson says it's time to show the real horror of mass shootings in pictures. How horrible? The children at Robb Elementary were killed with an AR-15 assault-style rifle. It's been the weapon of choice in most U.S. mass shootings, fires high-velocity ammo, and is uniquely devastating, as CBS News explained.
On top, the handgun. At bottom, the AR-15.
It's just exploded.
It's exploded and it's tumbling. So what happens is this particular round is designed to tumble.
The irony is that a 9mm handgun fires a larger bullet, but the AR-15 round has more gunpowder and more velocity.
There's going to be a lot more damage to the tissues, both bones, organs, whatever that gets kind of even near this bullet path. The bones aren't going to just break, they're going to shatter.
In other words, an AR-15 literally blows people apart, especially children. But Jeh Johnson writes, quote, "Certain images do more than speak 1,000 words. Some actually reveal to us what no words can adequately convey. Images have the capacity to shock the conscience into action, galvanize a population, and alter the course of history." Johnson mentions Emmett Till. In August 1955, the 14-year-old black youth dared to say something sassy to an adult woman in Mississippi. 2 white men abducted Till, tortured him, shot him in the head, and dumped his body in a river. At the funeral, Till's mother insisted on an open casket to show the world what the men had done to her son. Photographs showed Till in a suit, but with a bloated, mutilated head and face. The images became an international spectacle and helped spark the civil rights movement. When it comes to high-velocity weapons and U.S. gun policy, Johnson says, quote, "To truly judge the trade-offs of the status quo, the death and destruction must be honestly revealed. We need a game changer. We need an Emmett Till moment." Provocative, right? Well, I agree that showing the graphic and gruesome photos of mass shooting victims would be so provocative and highly charged, the gun debate in America would probably change. How could any citizen or elected representative look at horrific photos of mutilated children and not say enough already? And yet, 10 years ago, many of us thought the massacre at Sandy Hook Elementary School was so unprecedented and shocking, it would definitely prompt several Republicans in Congress to join Democrats and finally pass new gun restrictions. We were wrong. Even in the face of 20 children and 6 adults killed by an AR-15 in Newtown, Connecticut, there was no agreement to ban, freeze, or restrict assault weapons. And our political system remains just as corrupt, with more money than ever from corporations, including gun makers, buying legislative power. As it stands, polls show that 80% of the public supports restrictions on assault weapons, and yet Congress is unable to act. If graphic massacre photos push the public numbers even higher, say to 95%, would that make a legislative difference? I'm not sure. But viewing macabre photos of dead children with their heads blown off would be traumatic. And as a parent, I wouldn't want to have to count on screen blocks and filters to keep my young kids from stumbling upon and seeing such disturbing images. The thought of my kids seeing pornography online is cringeworthy enough. Images of mutilated children? That's a different order of magnitude. Nonetheless, a few years ago when I worked at Al Jazeera America, my colleagues and I had a similar debate regarding images from war zones. The international version of Al Jazeera, known as Al Jazeera English, often showed graphic and bloody images to viewers outside the United States. AJE felt that sanitizing violence was wrong, and that viewers should see the reality of just how horrific war really is. And yet the channel blocks such images from audiences in America because of U.S. broadcast and cable standards. While a debate in America over gun violence photos should begin. I'm not certain where I stand. My gut says that graphic images should not be shared with the public. However, I wish that awful gun victim photos were required viewing for members of Congress and the executive branch. Lawmakers who decide our gun policies should have to face the brutal and horrifying reality of what happens to children in mass shootings. Furthermore, there's already a system in place in Congress for lawmakers to have closed hearings on all kinds of issues, view sensitive materials, and keep it out of public view. So a public-private legislative divide would not be unprecedented. The unfortunate reality is that seeing the worst photos imaginable still may not change the votes of some members of Congress. But in my view, we need this debate. If you agree, please share this video and let me know your thoughts in the comment section. I'm David Shuster. Thanks for watching.